Afrimat is a construction materials producer formed from the merger of Prima and Lancaster prior to listing in 2006. It has a market cap of 1.3 billion rand, a price to earnings ratio of 11.6 and a dividend yield of 2.7% and a share price that looks as though it's going through the roof. What's happening here?
This was one of the class of 2006, and it really is one of the star performers of that group. Yes, it did go down in 2008, 2009 when they all did, but it's come back the strongest since then. Those businesses you mentioned, Prima and Lancaster, were in the sort of concrete products business. That's what they do, bit of ready mix, bit of building material sales like aggregates and so on. But whereas some of their competitors like WG Wern and Sand Cats and all those others really battled, these guys just rallied and went on from strength to strength.
Afrimat, from your perspective, is this it for the stock? Should you be taking your money and run? Because when you're looking at performance like this, do you continue to hold?
I think the company is really very well run with CEO Andries van Heerden. During the previous crash, they were sitting on their money. They didn't buy at too high prices. So they had a lot of cash as companies and shares came crashing down, as companies were sitting on bad balance sheets. They had a great balance sheet, and they used that to acquire other companies at great prices. They bought the Clinker Group, which was earnings accrueth from the first day. They bought Douglas, which is a dolomite mine from Exaro that also made them money. So I definitely think it's not something to run away from.
Have you made any money from Afrimat prior to this?
No, we've never owned this one. We had one or two clients who picked them up at the beginning, but it was always, for me, one of those. It was kind of in the mix when there were lots of them coming to the market, and we got a bit skeptical at some point, so what a pity. But look, they've been very entrepreneurial and very clever here. The CEO, Andries referred to there, is the one who's kind of put the group together. In its first instance, he was with one of those companies, and then he sort of led the thing. So buying that mine, the dolomite mine down in the sort of Vaal area, which supplies clinker to Iscor, was an inspired move. They got it at a great price. So all these bolt-on deals where they've assimilated them well, so it's juiced up earnings into a rising and positive market. I don't know, they just seem to put every foot in the right place sequentially.
Can they continue to put every foot in the right place?
I had a buy on the share at 5 rands for red hot penny shares. But since then, I have put out a sell recommendation on the share purely based on a recent acquisition.
Take your money and run theory.
Almost.
Based on the recent acquisition.
The recent acquisition of Infrasource, also a small dolomite mining company. The acquisition, they initially offered 35 cents a share for that company. They've upped it now to 60 cents a share. But in the recent results released from Infrasource, the company wrote down 300 million rands of assets based on the net asset value. So in terms of that, I'm a bit cautious on the deal, and I don't think it's going to make Afrimat money within the next year, probably in the next 3 years.
Poor Sansa, they could have put their feet in the wrong position there.
Well, Infrasource was always a funny listing. It came very late in the cycle, and it came with a bunch of sort of bank-backed finance partners. So what these guys did is they picked out the controlling shareholder and got a 50% stake on it, as Francois says, for 35 cents a share. Like in the last few days, they said, no, look, it's fine, we'll pay 65. But they're going to give the parties that got the earlier lower price the extra amount and so on. They still seem to think it's going to be earnings enhancing at this level. And I suppose they may be right. It's the old Littleton dolomite mine, which has been owned by 500 people over the last 150
But how
years.
significant, Francois, is Infrasource in the life of Afrimat from a size perspective?
I think
can it make or break the company is what I'm kind of getting
in terms of size, I don't think it would break Afrimat, but I don't think it's going to make it money in the next year. Just because there's too much to turn around at the Littleton dolomite mine, and it's on some of their other operations.
So Andries perhaps bitten off too much?
No, I doubt it. He's a clever guy. But you know what, the other product these guys make, which I really think is the difference between being civilized and not, is these concrete products. So you know these things that you put down the side of a curbside, those kinds of things, all that kind of edging and so on. I mean, that stuff's brilliant, because if you travel anywhere outside of the civilized world, that's what you see. Their roads don't have proper edges. So these guys are fabulous. I like the fact that they produce this stuff and that the municipalities in this country still use them. That's
Are they one of the only producers of this
stuff?
No,
no, it's totally low value kind of things. Everybody makes this stuff. But I'm just saying, these guys are big players in the KwaZulu-Natal market with Prima, I think, or maybe it was the other way around, Lancaster, and in the Cape. And these guys are headquartered in the Cape, so their head office is down in Tiger Valley. That's where they operate from.
Francois, anything else to add on Afrimat?
I'm not negative in the terms that it's going to crash. I think the share probably has legs, 10 rands in the next year.
Hot or not?
But growth is going to be slow, so I'm not hot.
Paul, hot or not on Afrimat?
Look, one of my rules of thumb here is that a company's got to have a market cap of more than R1 billion before it's allowed to be hot. But I'm going to make an exception here because I think it can get there. So I'm happy to say it's a hot play.